My current assignment is with the San Luis Obispo County Gangs Task Force, and that's a multi-agency task force. It includes probation, the DA's office, and then obviously San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office. And we all work together to kind of keep tabs on gang activity and do investigations and enforcement as appropriate. So I was asked to speak on hate crimes and white nationalist or white supremacist groups that are operating within San Luis Obispo County. So I first wanted to talk about the hate crime aspect. California's legislature has provided us with a legal definition, as they do with just about everything we have to deal with, and it gives us specific direction and defines specifically what a hate crime is, so that we can seek appropriate prosecution. So I'll just kind of quickly give you what that definition is so everybody's on the same page. The legislature defines a hate crime as a criminal act committed in whole or in part because of the victim's actual or perceived disability, gender, nationality, race or ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or an association with groups or persons with one or more of these actual or perceived characteristics. So what does that mean? What that means is if somebody commits a crime against another person because they believe or the person is actually a member of a protected class in California, that's considered a hate crime. So if an example of that would be if somebody spray paints a racial slur on a house, it's a vandalism, but it's also a hate crime because it's a racial slur. It was motivated by some sort of racial bias that the suspect had. So, having said that, we're actually in pretty good shape in San Luis Obispo County. I spoke with the district attorney's office yesterday to kind of get an idea of how many cases have been filed countywide over the past roughly 5 years. The district attorney investigator actually gave me statistics for the last 5.5 years. So over the last 5.5 years, there's been 13 cases referred to the district attorney's office, which is not a lot. Of those 13 cases, 2/3 were successfully prosecuted and through completion, and the defendant was sentenced to some sort of punitive sentencing process. That's not, we do have cases of hate crimes in San Luis Obispo County, but they're very rare. It's not something we deal with very often at all. Obviously, back in 2011, we had the cross burning in Arroyo Grande. That was a hate crime. The primary suspect in that case is actually still in prison. And then recently, we had San Luis Obispo PD had the case. I'm sure everybody is familiar with the criminal threats case that revolved around, I believe it's some sort of a racial bias case. I want to assure everybody that they're very, very rare. It's not something that occurs very often in San Luis Obispo County, and we're very fortunate of that. And I think that that's partially due to the next aspect of what I'm going to talk about, which is the white nationalist groups that we have operating in San Luis Obispo County. We really only have one group that holds white supremacy ideology, and they're called the Sick Boys. They have approximately 20 members that have been validated. 80% of those are currently in custody with the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation or the county jail system. All of their primary leadership is currently in custody. So anybody who's out of custody are people that are just, they're low level, they're not really making a lot of decisions. When I talk about the Sick Boys, where we're really lucky is while they identify with white supremacy ideas, they don't generally commit, that's documented, we don't have them committing crimes that are associated with hate crimes. They commit crimes that are street-level crimes, so they're crimes like drug dealing. They commit assaults primarily within their own group because of people telling on each other or snitching. Snitches get stitches. They commit robberies, but their motivation is not racially motivated. Their crimes are based upon the street-level crimes. So We're pretty good in San Luis Obispo County. We monitor this group. I will say that there are resources out there for hate crimes. So if you're a witness or a victim of a hate crime, please report it to law enforcement. That's how we stay on top of this, because we are very sensitive to this subject. Thank you.